Hey there, my name is Matt, and I'm a software engineer that's been using and teaching about AI for the past 2 years. Today, I'm going to show you how to install Claude Code on your computer, whether or not you have a Mac or a Windows machine. By the end of this video, you're going to have Claude Code installed on your machine. You're going to be able to start coding and actually creating projects with it. And you'll also be able to teach other people how to do it as well. Let's do this. One quick disclaimer, we are not installing Claude AI or Claude Cowork today. We are installing Claude Code. The differences between the three are that Claude AI is the website that you go to and text and send chats to Claude AI. That version of Claude cannot see your file system and it cannot make edits directly to your computer. That's not what we want. Claude Cowork is a little bit more similar to Claude Code, but instead of it being more code focused, it allows you to do more non-technical tasks like reorganizing files or creating repetitive jobs or something like that. Claude Code, on the other hand, is the most impressive and the most useful tool out of these three, in my opinion. That's because Claude Code is a terminal agent that lives within your computer, meaning that it can actually make changes to the files and systems on your machine. Now, I'm going to show you where Claude Code lives. Claude Code lives within the terminal, which is a place where you can send commands to your computer and it can recognize them and do things on your machine that you would otherwise have to do by clicking a series of buttons. I'm going to show you a quick example of what I mean right now. So right now on the left, I have my command prompt, which you can pull up by just typing terminal in your search bar on your computer. And on the right, I have my desktop. This is where all my files are located. If I wanted to create, let's say, a new folder on my desktop, let's call it photos. That's pretty simple, right? All I had to do was right click on my mouse, select new, and then select folder, right? Well, you can actually do that same exact thing, but on the terminal. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So as you can see, this text over here, C users Matthew Farose, is where I'm at in my computer. If I go to my C drive and I go to users, and I click Matthew Farose, this is where I'm currently at. I don't want to be there though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cd, which means to go into my desktop folder. Now, I'm actually pointing my terminal to my desktop. And now I'm going to run a command that allows me to create a folder on my desktop. The command I'm running is mkdir. So I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it Photos 2. Now, on my desktop, you can see a new folder called Photos 2 was created. Now that you understand this concept, I hope that you can see or understand a little bit more why Claude Code is so powerful. If you can do anything on your computer through language and through actually typing in commands, then if you give a large language model like Claude access to your computer, it can do some pretty incredible things. If you're still confused, I completely understand. It took me a little bit of time to understand exactly how the terminal worked, exactly how computers work, and you shouldn't expect to understand everything right after you install Claude Code. But if you're feeling a little bit more confident and you're ready to get started, let's actually get Claude installed on your machine. All right, let's do the Claude Code install on Windows now. To get started, we're going to open up the Claude Code docs, which I've linked down below, and we're just going to take a look at exactly what the get started statement says over here. So one thing to note is that Claude Code requires a $20 a month subscription. If you click on this link over here, you can find some different options, but as you can see, for free, you don't have access to Claude Code. The first thing that I want you to do instead of running this command over here is to go to this link over here and install Git for Windows. That link will open up this link, and I just want you to click download on this button over here, save this to your desktop, open this up, and then just go through the install as you would. I already have Git installed on my machine, so you might see something a little bit different on your machine, but essentially just install Git as if you were installing anything else on your computer. If you don't know what Git is a way for your computer to access files on the internet and store files on the internet as well. Most, if not all, software engineers use this tool to store their files, to download files from the internet, and it's just a very standard way to interact with your computer. So now that Git is finished downloading, it's going to pull up this screen over here. Don't really worry too much about that. I'm going to go back to the Claude Code documents. I'm going to go to Windows PowerShell. Great. So now I have my PowerShell open over here, and I have this command over here. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it right over here. I'm going to press enter. And now Claude Code will install. Great. It looks like Claude Code installed. Now, if you're following exactly what I did, you might see an error like this on your screen. Native installation exists, but blah, 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 blah. What we're going to do is we're going to pull up the Claude troubleshooting page, and we're actually just going to run this command exactly here. If you're confused on how to get here, there's a link in the description down below. But if you're also a little bit more curious on how to use AI, you can click this button over here and ask the AI, how do I verify my path? And it'll actually go through these files and find the information that you need to find. If you're on Mac, you run this command. If you're on Windows PowerShell, you run this command. So because I already know if you run this command and you're having that issue from before, you're probably going to get no output. So what I want you to do is I want you to grab this command string over here, which is just a command string that's going to add an environment variable. And what you're going to do is you're just going to run that command. So I'm just going to copy this, open up PowerShell, and I'm going to paste it. Sometimes Control-C and Control-V doesn't work with PowerShell. Sometimes you have to just right-click, and then the command will come out just like that. So I'm going to run this, and all it's going to do is just not say anything. After that's done, what I want you to do is I want you to close out of your PowerShell, and I want you to open up the regular command prompt over here. From here, I want you to run a command called Claude. And then what you should see is something like this. It's going to say, welcome to Claude Code. All this is just a configuration on how to set up and use Claude Code. I want you to remember that the terminal is a little bit different from the rest of your computer. You can't click on things. All you can do is highlight. The main way you navigate and get around on the terminal is if you press the arrow keys, as you can see over here. And then if you press enter, you can enter a command. Also right here, Claude Code is going to ask you to log in with your subscription. So I'm going to say yes, log in with my subscription. It's going to pull up the page where you can log in. I'm going to authorize it. And now if I go back to the terminal, it's going to say login successful, press enter. It's going to say some security notes. And then it's going to say, do you want Claude to access this workspace? Now, before continuing, I want you to read what's on the page over here. Quick safety check. Is this a project you created or one you trust? Like your own code, a well-known open source project, or work from your team? If not, take a moment to review what's in this folder first. Claude Code will be able to read, edit, and execute files over here. Remember, Claude Code has access to your computer. So anything that you have private or you don't want Claude Code to have access to, you have to make sure that Claude isn't opened in that specific folder. For now, I'm just going to say, yes, I trust this folder because I don't have anything on my desktop or users that I don't want Claude to have access to. But if you're more security minded and you have certain things you don't want to have Claude access to, make sure that you're opening up your terminal in a specific folder instead of just on your entire machine. But if you want a quick tutorial on how to go to a different file so that you can open Claude in a specific folder instead of on your entire machine, what you can do is this. I'm going to go to a folder that I want Claude to be in. So let's say I want Claude to access my resumes folder. I'm going to click the top search bar over here, and then I'm going to type in CMD, and then I'm going to press enter. And now I'm actually inside of that exact folder which I navigated to previously. And in here, I can say, hey, Claude, you're okay to access this folder, and then Claude can actually access this and start chatting in here. And now this is exactly what you should be seeing. The Claude Code logo, welcome back Matthew Feroz, and the ability to type within this little chat window over here. But now let's jump into the Mac installation. All right, great. Now let's get Claude Code installed on your Mac machine. First thing you want to do is pull up this Claude Code overview page, which I've linked in the description down below. Next thing you want to do is read a little bit on what Claude Code exactly is. Claude Code is an AI-powered coding assistant that helps you build features, fix bugs, and automate development tasks. Okay, and now it's going to say, choose your environment to get started. Most surfaces require a Claude subscription or Anthropic console account. Remember, you need to have the $20 a month subscription in order to use Claude Code. Now, before actually installing Claude Code, what I want you to do first is click on this link over here, and I want you to select Mac OS. What we're downloading here is this thing called Git, which is a way for you to both store and pull information off the internet. So with this Mac OS link over here, it's going to ask us to install something called Homebrew. I want you to click on this link, and I want you to actually go over here and run this command in your terminal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this text by clicking this button over here. I'm going to open up the terminal. I'm going to go over the terminal right here. I'm going to do Command V, and then I'm going to press Enter. It's going to say checking for sudo access, which means it's asking for permission for you to install this file. All you have to do is just type in your password. You might not see your password being typed out. That's a feature with terminals. Don't worry about it. Just type in your password as it is. Type in my password. And now it's going to say the script will install all of these files. You're going to need this for using Claude Code and many other things in the future. So if you just press enter, it's going to go ahead and do it. Now, I already have Homebrew installed on this machine. So if my screen looks a little bit different than yours, then don't worry too much about it. Great. So now that you have Homebrew installed, I want you to go back and actually run this command over here as well. So brew install git is what you're going to do to install git on your machine. I'm going to press command, I'm going to press V, and I'm going to run brew install git, and then press enter. All right, it looks like git was just installed. Great. So now I'm going to hop back to the Claude Code page, and then I'm going to grab this command over here, copy it, paste it, press enter, and now Claude Code should be installing on my machine. If you're enjoying this video so far, I'd really appreciate it if you left a like, subscribed, or just left a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. All right, great. It should say something like installation complete. Now you may be seeing an issue on your computer, which says native installation exists, but local bin is not on your path. Run echo export path home, and then the rest of what this command says. What I want you to do is I want you to highlight all of the text that's in this line over here, press Command C, and then press Command V in your terminal in order to paste that command. After you do that, you press enter. All it's going to do is just appear with nothing. Now what I want you to do is I want you to close out of that terminal, press Command space again, and then open up terminal, press enter. And now what you should see is this blank screen one more time. Now, if you type in the command Claude, what you should see is something like this. It's going to say, let's get started and choose the text style that looks best with your terminal. I just always select dark mode. Also, in order to interact with the terminal, you have to press enter and the arrow keys instead of clicking on things. Just remember that. This is a little bit different than using the rest of your computer. And then I'm going to select the Claude account login with subscription. I'm going to press enter over here, and then Claude is going to open up a little page that says Claude would like to connect to your Claude chat account. Press authorize. And now you can go back to this page over here, press enter again. And then it's going to ask you to use the recommended settings or, change some things, but let's just use the recommended settings for now. And then you're going to come up with this page first. It's going to say something like, quick safety check. Is this a project that you created or one you trust, like your own code, well-known open source project, or work from your team? If not, take a moment to review what's in this folder first. Claude will be able to read, edit, and execute files in here. So if you encounter this and you're saying to yourself, I don't want Claude to access these folders, you can actually go to a different folder on your desktop, on your C drive, wherever you like, and then call Claude from there so it will only have access to those files. For now, for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to press yes, I trust this folder, and then something like this will pop up, and it'll say terminal would like to access data from other apps, and then I can say allow. Let's actually walk through how you can go to a different folder and actually open up Claude in a different place. So this right now is the C drive of my Mac machine. if I want to only do work in my presentations folder, what I can do right here is I can type CD, and then I can drag the presentations folder right into here. So now what that's going to do after I press enter is now I'm in the presentations folder on my machine. So now when I type in Claude and I press enter, it's going to ask me that same question. Quick safety check. Is this a project creator one you trust? Yes, I trust this folder. And now Claude has only access to that folder. It's pretty simple, but just make sure that you're staying a little bit careful on what you can give Claude Code access to. Remember, Claude Code has access to every file on your computer if you can allow it. And you got to be careful with what you're putting on your computer if you don't want the people at Anthropic using your information as trading data in the future. Now, congrats, you just installed Claude Code on your machine. I want you to take a look at a couple of features that are very important that you'll probably need to understand when using a tool like this. The first thing you need to understand is this line right here, Sonnet 4.6 or whatever it says over here. This is the model that your AI is currently using. Depending on the model that you're using, you're going to get different outputs. Some are more expensive and give better outputs. Some are cheaper but give worse outputs. One command that you can run in order to change the model is by typing /model, pressing enter, and then selecting something like Opus, which is the best model right now, but it costs the most amount of money. I'm going to press enter. And now you can see up there, it says Opus 1 million context. Let's send Claude a quick message to test that it works. Hi, Claude. What folder am I in? You basically just type and then you press enter, and then Claude can let you know things like, okay, you're in this folder. You can also say, hey, Claude, give me a list of the presentations within this folder. And what it's going to do is it's going to run commands on your computer to actually figure out certain things and interact with your machine. You can see, hey, I had a presentation about Redis. I had a presentation about Claude Cowork. I had a presentation about some of the tools within Claude Cowork. And yeah, that's just a start. But again, there's a lot more stuff that you can do, which I'm going to talk about more in my next video. If you feel like you're behind with AI, I'd like to give you this free gift. I put together the 100 hours back AI roadmap, which is basically my 4 years of experience using AI, what stages I needed to go through in order to become AI native, and where I got stuck and how you can get past the stages that I got stuck at. I broke my learning process out into 6 stages, and if you go to my website and fill in your info for this quiz thing that I created, it'll tell you where you're at and what steps you need to take next to save more time with AI. No matter what you're struggling with, somebody has been there and solved it. So just go to matthewferrose.com/roadmap, fill in your information, and if you'd like a more personalized solution, there's also a link on the thank you page that you can fill out to book a one-on-one call with me. I'd love to help you out. Thank you so much. Have a great day.